everyone. Today on Dogmatic DIY, I'm going to teach you how to build this shoe rack bench, if that's what you want to call it. 2 rows of shoes, and if you want to sit down, you can sit down. I'll teach you how to build it, so let's get started. We're going to build something in the garage today. We're going to build a little shoe rack bench. It's going to be 36 inches long by 12 inches wide and about 18 inches high. What we're going to need is, you can see, I went to Home Depot yesterday when it wasn't raining, but I got a 4x8 sheet of sanded plywood, and I got an 8-foot piece of 1x4 and 2 8-foot pieces of 1x2. To save me some time, and it wasn't that bad of a price, I bought I've already pieced together 18 by 36, perfect size, or 12 by 36 because it's 12 wide. So this will be the bench top. It saves me lots of time. I don't have to glue any pieces together and then cut them to size and then put them through, go to my father-in-law's, go through a planer and do all that. All I have to do is prep it and sand it. I'll probably put a little rounded edge on it with my router, but it's all ready to go. And it's the exact dimension I need, so I don't have to cut anything for it. So sometimes it's worth the extra little bit of money to save some time. Now the plywood, what we're going to use the plywood for is the frame, the initial frame. It's not going to be any centerpiece other than, say, the 2 shelves, but it's for support for the rest of it. So it's kind of going to be like an inner shell. Now you will see some of it, and we'll paint whatever we need to paint on that. We'll sand it down and we'll paint it, but it's the trim that's going to make it stand out. So the sides will have the 1x4. So I'll kind of give you an idea. Let's see if you can see it. I will try to finish these plans and post them on Etsy if you're interested. But you see that, so you can see the side here, how right there, it's kind of, those are 1x4s there, and then behind it is the plywood, right? And these 2 shelves will be plywood, and all this is the 1x2 framing. For the plywood, I'm gonna need 2 pieces cut at 11 by 17, and that'll be the side panels. I'm gonna need 2 pieces cut at 11 by 33, and that will be these 2 shelves. And then my 2 supports on top that my actual seat top will sit on, I'm gonna cut those at 4 by 33. So they're just gonna be screwed into the sides and to create support, right? Then I'll cut my 1x4s. I'm gonna cut 4 of them at 18 inches. I'm gonna cut 4 of them at 4.5 inches, and that will be the framing on the 2 sides. And then for the 1x2s, I'm gonna cut 3 of them for the top and the 2 shelves at 32 inches. I'm gonna cut a 1x2, I'm gonna 2 of them at 18 inches down the sides. So let me get things set up so I can start cutting this for the frame. Now there's a little change. I said a couple of them are going to be cut, the 1x4s. I did mention that there's going to be 4 of them at 4.5, but I almost made a mistake. They're going to be cut 4 of them at 4 inches, because if I'll show you my side panel here, so you can get that. See that side panel there? It's only 11 inches. Because the overall width is 12, but I want a 1/2 inch overhang on the sides and the front for the seat. So the overall width is 11.5 when you remove the seat. And then I gotta remove that 1/2 inch for the 1x2 trim in the front. So the side panels are only gonna be 11. So I gotta take the 3.5 and the 3.5 of the two side 1x4s and minus that from 11. So 11 minus 7 is 4. Lucky I caught that, or I'd have a 1/2 inch overhang somewhere and end up having to come back and cut it. So I caught it. Can you see? Nice line. So if you don't have a track saw and you got a big piece like this, I don't know if you can see what is underneath this, but it's kind of like an accordion thing that I got that kind of folds out, that as almost like a table. But if you have a big piece and it's too big for your table saw, you don't have a track saw, just get it, as long as you got a straight edge, you just measure from whatever edge you're cutting to the edge of your blade, and then just clamp it down, you get a nice straight edge. Okay, that is the two 11x17s. Now I'm going to cut the two 11x33s and the two 4x33s. I guess that's one advantage of this little accordion table here, is I can cut in between the legs, not have to worry about cutting the table or anything, right? So another nice and straight piece, so that's good. One more piece to cut this way, and then we can go and start using the table saw. Finally got enough room cleaned off where I can cut them. The 4x33, 11x33, and 11x17. Remember, I had an extra piece of a 1x2 left that I use as my track to cut. Well, at the back, I want a little brace. So this is going to sit under one of my 4" by 33s. Give it a little support so it doesn't bow in the middle, and it shouldn't, because I'm putting the tabletop or the seat top on anyways. But I wanted to do that, and then I had that little piece of 1x4 I had left. I cut them into little 1" strips that I could go across there as well. I'll kind of explain that and show you that when I do. Rather have the frame be sturdy and not use the trim as the support, right? This is one of the sides here, and these are going to be the braces that are going actually on top. It's just underneath the seat. Now they're only 1/2 inch, right? So I don't want to take a chance on splitting this. I could drill and put a small screw in there. What I'm going to do is I cut little pieces. So 1" by 3/4. Just some scrap wood I had lying around. I'm going to place it just above where these are. That way I can screw this into the side and into these pieces here. Now, just to hold it in place while I get it ready, I'm going to put a couple brad nails in, just so I can get this exactly where it needs to go. You can see now I have the ledge there. Now I can just pre-drill some holes for the top and for the sides to secure it in. So we got those on there. Now I can pre-drill for the top, but I'm also going to put it on the bottom, because remember, one of these shelves is going to sit on the bottom, but not right on the floor. It's going to sit 1 inch up. So I'll need to place this so that is 1 inch up. So I'm going to put that side on as well, and then we can finish the frame. Got the ledge now where the bottom shelf's going to sit on. Then I have these are up here where those brace pieces are going to go on, just below the seat. Now I can screw them on. So put them on, do some pilot holes here. So I'm going to put these pieces on, and then I'm going to clamp it together and then drill them together. frame is all in now. I don't want to put, actually what I should put is that I should put these brackets here too for the second middle or the top shelf. This is the bottom shelf. I should put those in before I start running out of room to do things. Plus I want to put the brace. We're going to put a brace, if you can see under here, all along here, so it kind of supports that there. The front one is going to have the front trim that's going to strengthen that. The back doesn't, so I want to put a back piece on here. Put the first one in. I'll kind of show you. Now, what I did is from the top to the top of this, it's 8 3/4 inches. Because once I get the trim on, here to here and here to here will all be, was it 6 and something? Hold on. 6 3/4 inch right on each one. Now you noticed I only put a screw on each end. I didn't put one in the middle. It's because the trim's going to cover here. If I would put one in the middle, I would have had to put some wood filler in and then do some extra sanding in there when I want to try to keep everything along where the trim's going to go. Now I didn't got the middle shelf in there. I didn't nail it down or screw it down. Also, I have the back piece. I nailed it there from the top and then screwed it in from the sides. So this frame is now done. What I can do now is sand it and paint what I need to paint now before I get this trim on, because once I get that trim on, it'll be hard to get behind it. So this piece can come out. I'll sand this down. It's already a sanded plywood, but it's still a teeny bit rough there. So I want to do don't want to sand too much because I don't want to go through the veneer, right? Because then you'll lose the grain and you'll get like an orangey color to it. So I'll do a light quick sand. I'll fill in these screw holes here, and then I'll give it a nice little coat of paint. I don't have to fill the screw holes on the side. Like I told you, the trim's going to cover all that, so I can just paint it all. Another note is I was putting some 3/4 inch screws in earlier, and then I moved over to the 1 inch just to get a little bit more flight into the shelving. All right, I've done filling the screw holes inside where the bottom shelf is. I've sanded it down. Now all I'm going to do is give her a coat of paint. Now remember, the trim's going to cover a good portion of this, so even all of this here, the only thing that you're going to see is a little square inside on each side and the shelves, because even the fronts are going to be covered in trim, so I don't have to go really crazy about it. More or less just be nice on the shelving and the sides in the middle. All right, so I'm going to start painting it, and that way I can let it dry, and then once it dries I can get the trim prepped. Now that the frame is all painted, put a couple coats on everything there, next thing for me to do is take my router bit to all the trim pieces. I'm going to use this 1/8 inch rounder bit. So hopefully you can see that. This one, the 1/8 inch one. And for the actual top, I haven't decided if I want to use a 3/8 one. I may do the 1/4 one first to see how much rounded. I'd like it to be a little more prominent than, say, the trim pieces, because I just want a slight round on the trim pieces. That's why I'm going with a really small one, the 1/8 inch one, right? So I'm going to go do all the trim pieces with this. And then I'm going to put those on the base, because the top piece is the last piece to go on anyways. So let me take this and do all the trim pieces. All the pieces are done now. All I need to do is sand it all. Once I'm done sanding, I'll start putting it on the frame. Now the side trims are done. Now I just got to put on the front trim. All this trim is done now. I'll show you here. Brad nailed that in, so I'll put some filler in the brad nail holes. And then I can start painting it. I want to paint all that because the top's going to be different. We're going to make the top look weathered, so I don't want it to get all full of white paint or be anywhere near the white paint. We got the paint all on there now. Time to work on the top. I sanded it all down up until a 240 grit. So it's nice and smooth, even though it doesn't really need to be since I'm going to beat it up anyways. But this time I did use a little test piece of wood, so I didn't have a little bit of a lip here. As you can see, nice and rounded now. I don't know how the camera shows that, but you can see now a nice rounded edge now, so it's not a hard edge. So now that I've sanded it down, I'm going to start beating it up and putting some like scratches and some nail marks in here, so I'll add some character. Now that I've beaten it up, I'm gonna put some special walnut stain on there. As you can see, it's all dry now. I got a few coats of poly on her now. All I'm gonna do is pretty much just screw this through the bottom here into the top. Now you want to position so the back of the table, or I don't know why I keep saying table, back is flush. You have a little bit of overhang on the rest of it, but should be a little overhang on all three sides. Make sure the back is flush, right? Got a few coats of poly. I even put poly on the shelves just so they can wipe off easy, because obviously you're going to get shoes dirty or whatnot. If you have any questions, leave in the comment section below. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that bell to be notified when I post another video. And we'll talk to you later.